GetCrack. Wake up, motherfucker.
Time now for a look at what's trending in China. That's a look at what is making the headlines in national newspapers. Now, after USPS walked back on an earlier decision to halt some shipments from China and Hong Kong, an editorial in the Global Times says the U-turn not only reveals contradictions from Washington, but also highlights the resilience of US-China trade relations.
Now, the piece points out small parcels can contain daily necessities for, well, American households and businesses, and say that they are actually the ones bearing the brunt of these tariff policies, and that's something officials are actually echoing.
The United States recently imposed a 10% tariff on Chinese products exported to the United States and adjusted the tax-free policy on small value parcels. This will undoubtedly increase the consumption costs of American consumers and undermine the shopping experience.
Min Min Lo is on camera to tell us about this story, that these retailers on these platforms are being asked with how much deposit?
30%.
Okay, for what?
So they're being asked by the logistics agent to pay 30% deposit, which they will have to top up or have it returned to them depending on the actual tax charges from the U.S. Customs. And this is after the U.S. Postal Service had flip-flopped on their policy about whether to accept parcels from China and Hong Kong. They have reversed that now, saying that they will find a more efficient way to collect those tariffs. But then you have the Hong Kong Post now saying that they are not accepting parcels that are being sent to the U.S. because they are in talks with the U.S. Postal Service. They're still clarifying certain issues. So either way, there is going to be some disruption to the post. The question is how long, and that is what retailers are most worried about, especially small businesses that are working very hard to protect their reputation with consumers, and also the factories. They could be at risk of closure if there is any halt to these deliveries, because they're already operating on very razor-thin margins. They don't have a lot of room to lower prices further, which means that U.S. consumers will likely have to bear the brunt of any price increases. And especially this is going to be acute for those low-value goods like socks, fashion accessories that are being sold. And Nomura, for example, is estimating that China had sent about $46 billion worth of these goods, small parcels, each valued at less than $800 last year. And of course, these parcels used to be exempted from any customs duty because of the de minimis rule, but then now that is being revoked by Trump. And Nomura is saying it could cost China about 1.3% of its exports growth and about 0.2% of its GDP. So pretty significant, given that China sends about, that these small parcels make up about 11% of China's exports to the U.S.
And you mentioned the Hong Kong Postal Service is there as well, but it's not the only way that Hong Kong is really being caught in the crosshairs between US, China here. The anxiety that a lot of businesses here have always felt, which is that Hong Kong increasingly appears to be getting lumped in with China when it comes to policy making. Just tell us how, that's sort of risking Hong Kong's status as a financial hub.
Yeah, and I'm sure you know very much about that because you co-wrote that story as well. And
pretending to ask the question, Rebecca.
Please tell me about the story that I wrote earlier today.
Yes, so President Trump, if you recall, in his first term in office back in 2020, he signed that executive order to end preferential treatment for Hong Kong when it comes to economic and trade matters. So what this means is that those 10% tariffs imposed on Chinese goods, for the first time, they also apply to Hong Kong goods as well. But for now, economists are saying don't panic because the tariffs apply to goods manufactured in the city, and that applies to about just 1.3% of Hong Kong's exports to the U.S. Things like jewelry, metals, gold, because the bulk of Hong Kong's exports consists of these re-exports from other countries. So that's the good thing. But there is a psychological impact here because you look at companies like Hutchinson's, which operates that 2 of the 5 ports in the Panama Canal that is now being targeted by the U.S. Companies looking at that case are going to think twice about investing overseas, especially in strategic sectors that could potentially come under fire from the U.S. administration as well. So all of these adding together, you mentioned the Postal Service disruption, they really threaten to ruin Hong Kong's reputation as that stable business hub, that international connector between mainland China and the rest of the world, especially when these policy differences between mainland China and Hong Kong starts to erode over time.
Prepared remarks just crossing the wires. Let's get straight to Megan Casella in D.C. Megan. Hey, Sarah. So Powell's sending a clear message today on the rate outlook, telling lawmakers in his opening statement that the Fed does not need to be in a hurry to adjust its policy stance. He'll say that's because policy is now significantly less restrictive than it had been and that the economy remains strong. On the economic outlook specifically, generally good overall here. Powell will say the labor market appears solid, having cooled from its overheated state, and that it is not a source of inflationary pressure. He'll also say inflation remains somewhat elevated, but much closer to the 2% target than it once was. Activity in the housing sector, he also says, appears to have stabilized. Now, Powell also highlights inflation expectations, and I'd note there has been a lot of focus here given the recent jump in the University of Michigan survey. But Powell says that longer-term expectations, importantly, appear to remain well anchored. Now, on the monetary policy front, Powell will say risks on both sides of the dual mandate are in balance and that policy is well positioned to deal with what he calls the risks and uncertainties that the Fed faces. But as expected, no direct mentions here, guys, of fiscal policy or politics in the prepared remarks, something that lawmakers will certainly be focused on in their questions. And finally, guys, Powell will also say the committee is assessing data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks in considering both the extent and the timing of any future cuts. So overall, not a lot of surprises here. Powell does use some softer language throughout about conditions that appear or seem stable, potentially giving himself some cover or some wiggle room. But overall, he seems quite comfortable to have the Fed remain in its current holding position, given where the economy is right now. Guys?
All right, what's up, guys? It is February 11th, 2025. All right, so so nothing burger from Powell, and then after he started yapping, and then he finished yapping, the market just kind of went shrug, and a lot of the small cap stuff and all the things I was interested in just dived down. So no trade today. Nothing went on that I could see. So people are waiting for tomorrow then. So tomorrow at 5:30 my time, which is 8:30 Eastern, an hour before the market opens, there'll be CPI numbers. So that'll be the interest rate. And Powell will talk again, this time at the House. So he talked at the Senate today. So he'll talk at the House tomorrow. And he'll talk around 10 again, right? 10 Eastern. Okay? So I don't know. I see nothing. Again, just like Friday, I see nothing. There's nothing clear to go on with. A lot of the stuff I'm waiting for hasn't panned out any in either direction. So one of the things I was interested in was like, okay, so Bitcoin. Am I going to use MSTR, MicroStrategies, who changed their name to Strategy? Should I go long or should I go short now? Not clear. We are now below MSTR is below 324, 325. This area is very important. I played it last Monday from 309 up into Tuesday, basically, because I held on, right? Most of the move was done on Monday. And then on Tuesday, I was like, well, is Bitcoin going to continue up or not? And it didn't. Now you see this purple squiggly line I drew. So this was before all that DeepSeek drama happened. So Bitcoin, doesn't really care about DeepSeek or any of that. But MicroStrategies on Friday, before the DeepSeek drama came around, which is the same reason why I shorted like semiconductors around Wednesday, Thursday. So MicroStrategies was already going down ahead of time then. And then once that DeepSeek news dropped, from Monday onward, right here from the 27th January, it just stuck in this lower range. We never got back above 356. So it's been stuck here. And to me, it's like, it's ripe to short. This is a ripe to short because if you look at the weekly, daily, you see this? So from the weekly standpoint, you got the 18 moving average still going up, but now we're flattening on the 40 moving average, and you have these weak candles. So if you look at the weekly chart, you see this last green candle, right? November 18th, and then you get a red one. Then you got another big red one on December 16th, and you go on, and then the last green one was during the 13th of January. This was the last time the market actually had a big, strong push up from that Monday. So a lot of stocks continued up for 2 weeks, even after all the drama with tariffs, DeepSeek, whatever. Some stocks, if you picked right, still went up. But you see this red candle, right? We go back to the halfway point. So the halfway point of this green candle. And then afterwards, we just stay below. Now we're just at the bottom half of this green candle. And it wouldn't take too much to go through this area here. So this rectangle between 277 and 294. If we touch it again and just go right through it like butter, that's it. You're done. You're done. You're done. We're going straight down to 197 right here. And if it's really bad, because I'm thinking when March and April will be bad for the markets. So if Bitcoin does fail to hold, because if you look here, we're right back at that 95,500 area. Yeah, this ain't a good look, because once we get down to 90K or 87K or something like that, that's it. It's done. Yeah, it's done. We're going to see you back at 77, 60 even. Well, I don't know. Some people predict 60. I know some people in the chat have predicted us going back to 60. So we'll have to see how bad the things will get with the whole market. But yeah, that's not a good sign. But tomorrow could be different. So I'm waiting for tomorrow. So you can see what happens on 8:30. Get your money ready. Get your money ready. See how it goes in pre-market. Then when the market opens, you never know. We might just reverse back up, do a fake out. We get back up to 400 on MSTR. I would trade it, go long, and then I would be prepared to go short, and then go short then. I wouldn't short here. I want to see how CPI reacts tomorrow, okay? So that's why I'm waiting for tomorrow. This will be where it's at. And let's see what other trades that I was looking forward to was like DNA or whatever, if it held 350. Nope. So it's just following the markets today. We're going down. And then what else we have? AAOI. That was the other one, right? Yeah. Back at 28 where I bought it. So it looks like it can't continue above 32. It looked like it was trying yesterday, but nope. Nothing today. So tomorrow I'll look at these two as well. So DNA and AOI, see if those move up. But a lot of that stuff is just like the ARK stocks, ARKK, like the Cathy Wood ETF, like a lot of these type of stocks, and ARKW, ARKG, ARKF, and people were talking about space stocks yesterday. ASTS, like Tropes was like, you see that? Yeah, look, I know. Yeah, they look like they're about to do something, but they won't. They're just trapping people right now. A lot of this stuff is just trapping everybody. So until you see something from Powell or the economic reports, you're not going to get anything. You're not going to get anything, right? So what's good though? What is good? EWW, oh, Mexico, baby. So I'm in MEXX. I'm waiting for this to break out of 12. If it gets to break out of 12, let's see you back at 20, guys. So MEXX, another one, Zim. So I talked on Friday, then I talked again yesterday. It's up 8.67%, hitting this area of resistance at the weekly. So once it gets above 23, I'll see you guys at 30. That's another one. And let's look at semiconductors right now. Semiconductors still stuck here. So if the market is going to go up, you're going to need semiconductors. Okay. So right now, let's look at ALAB. ALAB earnings down 9%. Sorry. So that didn't pan out. And on Monday morning, you had On Semiconductor. Sorry. This thing was pretty bad. This already was going down like 15-something% a week ago, or not a week ago. I mean, over a month ago. This is over a month and a half ago on New Year's. This is not a good look. I don't know what news made it do that, but nope. So earnings didn't do anything. LSCC is the only one going up today, but as you can see, we are hitting resistance here as well, because yeah, you're trying to go up and then you're just falling back down. If it just collapses, yeah, we're not getting anywhere here. Tower Semiconductor, TSEM. Yeah, okay. It's doing fine since October 2023, but it's, yeah, it looks like people have been selling off all since New Year's. That's not a good look. So a lot of things under the surface I already see is pretty bad. All right. And let me see what else. What's Palantir doing? Okay, still holding on. And what is Affirm doing? Affirm, AFRM. Okay, still holding on. Okay, we'll see how that goes tomorrow. Let's see, Shopify. Okay, yeah, after earnings it was up like 4% here. Not a big result. Asan, I'm still looking at ASAN. I talked about it last week. Let's see how it goes. Because I like the shape of this. Maybe tomorrow we'll know. Peloton is another one I mentioned, but again, same thing. A lot of these type of stocks, PTON, yeah. I need to see what it does on CPI tomorrow. Tesla, terrible. So it's dropped below its 18 weekly moving average. It failed to hold 403. This last week it was down 10%. It's going below the midpoint here. So if you look at the daily, look at that. So this was actually an important area, midway between 404 and 283. It looks like it's doing pretty bad. See what happens when it hits 283 tomorrow. If it does that, it could do that. If everything goes down tomorrow, watch Tesla to really test this level. And if it fails there, then see you at 139. That could be a short as well. So Tesla could be a short. SMCI told you yesterday, that was it. We hit the resistance at 42. Okay, so that was it. I only played from Monday to Friday. I didn't play the last Monday. That was like, I think we'll have to see how it goes. Earnings today. All right. Earnings after the close. You have Upstart after the close as well for earnings. So I'm going to watch this one. It's testing 72. That's going to be important if it can break out. If it doesn't, see you at 48 for UPST Upstart. Upstart, I think, does, it's a fintech type stock. So I think it does loans with AI. So AI loan officers, stuff like that. And then what else? What else? Lyft, I think, does earnings after the close. Lyft is important because, yeah, it's after the close. Lyft is already down 5%. See what it does. It's important because Mobileye had news yesterday. They're doing a lot more cooperation with Lyft. It jumped 11.82%. I mentioned Mobileye, MBLY is a ticker, because in earnings it dropped to about 14.5. It came back up the whole day. And the several days it's been trying to stay in this range, right? And it's halfway. So most of the action was halfway of this area. See that? So around $16. So it's bouncing around there. Now it's pulling back. I'm going to watch this one. If tomorrow does well, then I might jump in. All right. Mobileye, and then see if it can break 18 and go to 22 or higher. All right. Because this range is really important. You see this all the way from July. This area, this gap here between 20 and 18. And then you go all the way down to 14 here, which was a resistance level, because when it went below that, it fought there from September, and it broke out again when Trump got elected, pushed up. It got as high as 22, pull back. Now, let's see if it can get the 30 from here. I don't know if it can do it on Friday. I mean, February, the rest of February, but I'm watching this one. Yeah, this could be a good trade. So MBLY, I'm watching that one. So SMCI, we have to watch, because even if you're not in it anymore, if you're not playing it anymore, there is a chance it can get back up to 60 something based on the DeMark indicators. But the most important thing is it might affect how NVIDIA does, because NVIDIA is right back at 133, this area. If it fails here, oh boy. Yeah, it's going back to 101. So yeah, the market could take a dump tomorrow. That's what everything's prepared for. But if it doesn't do that, then see you up. So tomorrow morning, I'll see you guys. And that'll be really important for any kind of trading. So yeah, Tesla will be important. And there's a lot of ETFs that you can play with Tesla. There's 2x long Tesla. There's 2x short Tesla. Let's see, what's the one? TSLQ is short 2x. You have TSLR long 2x. You have TSDD short. Yeah, okay. Tomorrow morning, let's see what happens. Okay, so get ready. Just get ready for anything to happen. ATAI was up today, but it fell back. I don't know. I got to see this thing break 265. Okay, ATAI, the DMT psychedelic drug manufacturer that Peter Thiel is into, and I talked about it like several streams already. So go back to last week's streams. I talk about this one. Let's see what else. What else? That's important to talk about now. Mobile Eye, talk about that. Talk about Mexico, MEXX. Oh, Hawaiian Electric. Oh, my. Yes, my favorite this week. So, yeah, we got a good result from the Hawaiian Supreme Court. Okay. So, if you were, I talked about this several weeks ago. To go to 7. I don't know if HB got into it. But he was waiting for 7 as well. But once it couldn't clear 7, I just jumped in. Once it just bounced here, okay, get in at 850, whatever. Don't care. Keep adding. Now I'm wondering if I should add more here when it comes back to 10. Watch it at 1050. Watch it if it clears and goes to 1050. If it does, get prepared to add more. It's going back to 15, 17, 18, 20. Okay. This one, so the Supreme Court basically said the insurance companies cannot sue Hawaiian Electric or the government of Hawaii for the fires. Oh, yeah, you can get out, but like, dude, once this thing clears, yeah, dude, especially utility stocks, this is the way. This baby is going back up there, so I'm holding on for that. What else we got? Is any other stock like this right now? No, not really. Just Zim, right? Zim. So I already talked a little bit about that. I'm waiting for 23. Once it can clear that, I could see you at 30. And earnings for Zim is not until March 18th. You got a lot of time. So this thing can roll right back up to 30 just before earnings. You jump out, wait for earnings, see what happens, and then you do it just like you do SMCI. I don't play earnings. I just play in between the earnings. All right, that's the way you do it. I'm not gonna gamble on a single event here. Okay, I'm not gonna do that shit. I just make my easy money that way. And we got Tesla already gave earnings, right? Tesla already did earnings on the January 29th. So you got plenty of months until you get to May. Who knows where Tesla's going? Tesla could go all the way back down to 103. You buy from 103 and go back up to 400 by May. All right. So if the stock market takes a dump, wait for it to come back to 130. Buy it there and then go back up to 400. That's how you do it, dude. That's easy money. Because as you know, market is stupid. People are stupid. All you're doing is trading between levels here. So I want to see what it does at 280. If it can't hold 280, see you down here. If it can hold 280, then what's going to happen is this thing has a real good chance to go up to $600, $700. Tesla. All right. Market app for Android. I don't know, Solid Snake. Get Robinhood. I think Robinhood has the best app in general. So I'm sure that one does. But you definitely should have multiple brokers. Solid if you're able to. Like you get one in Fidelity, you get one Interactive Brokers, you get one Robinhood. What's the other one? Yeah, there's tons of them, but definitely get one Fidelity at least. One of them. Yeah. I'm fanboying for AMD and Nvidia. Oh man, Nvidia, AMD. Yeah, AMD. Oh, there were a bunch of people that hated. Oh man, there's a lot of people that were like, "Oh, what's Palantir doing? It's up 23%." How come AMD can't do that? Oh man, yeah. Well, yeah. So AMD right now went below 125. Yeah, it's gonna go down to 92 probably eventually. Yeah. If you're gonna buy AMD, you might as well wait for it to buy there. Nvidia is gonna require earnings, and that's the end of February. Okay. Last week of February, Wednesday, I believe. Yeah, Wednesday of February 26th. Okay, so that's about it for that. Let's see. So I'm looking for other new players here. We had SMCI from last week was the play. There's no easy plays now. You see now SMCI pulling back to this area before earnings at 39. So I'm curious to see how it does. And we have Mobile Eye. I'm definitely gonna watch that one. Yeah. Okay. If this thing comes down tomorrow and it's real good price, yeah, you could go for it. Let's see. Let's see. There's a lot of things to do. Deere has earnings later on. Let's see what the other earnings are. Let me check the calendar here. Okay, what's up tomorrow morning? We have VRT. VRT. Oh, you have DoorDash after the close as well. Okay, DoorDash. You have gold. Okay, gold. GOLD, Barrick Gold. Oh, not this one. Come on. I don't want real gold. Barrick Gold will do earnings. So that's what one I will watch. See what happens. Ooh, yeah, that could affect things a lot in the gold area. Okay, what else? VRT. VRT does liquid cooling for data centers. So we got that one. Ooh. Yeah, it dropped on the DeepSeek stuff below the resistance of 108. Yeah, so I'm going to watch this as well. Okay, VRT, I'm going to watch this one. Yeah. Anything else? Anything else? I've heard there was like maybe Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac was going to have earnings. I haven't double checked that. So I got to see what that's doing. So if you guys listened to me before about Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, like this is the one. It's the one. What's his name? So Bankman was crypto. Altman is AI. And then there was another man. What's the other small hat's name? Freaking hell. What's the other one? Freaking hell. Let me see. Free. Oh man. Bet. Investor. Let me see. What's that guy's name? Ackman. All right. Ackman. Okay. Ackman is in this thing. All right. So Altman, alternative man AI. Bankman, crypto scammer, right? His name is Bankman. Now we got Ackman, ACK man. Okay. So he's doing this trade. When Trump got elected, this thing pumped from about $1.20 to $3. And then Ackman came in just before New Year's and said, I'm in it. And it went from $2.40 to $7. I'm watching this guy. I don't know if this is accurate that they'll have earnings on Thursday, but yeah. The thing about this trade is that if Trump allows it to get out of conservatorship, and this was all the way back since 2008, if this thing becomes a real public company again without government hands in it, then yeah, this thing will fly. This thing will fly, and it's still cheap. So you got Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. So Freddie Mac is FMCC, Fannie Mae is FNMA, pretty much the same price. All right, whatever. You could pick one or the other or both. I don't think there's a difference, and you'll be good to go right there. And that'll probably coincide with the housing bubble. So there'll be another housing bubble. Alibaba is doing pretty good, Solid Snake, but wait a while. So Chinese stocks, if you look at what I've been saying about Chinese stocks, you see this gray line I drew? So I drew this back in September. You see it's up, down, up, down, up. And it's going to go down again, but not as deep to maybe. So this is Hong Kong index, the Hang Seng. And it'll get around maybe 20,500, and then it's ready to go and shoot to the moon. All right. And this will be around April and whatever. So pretty good prediction I made there since then. So that's pretty good. I drew that gray stuff, and it was just random. I just said zigzag, zigzag, because if you know the Wyckoff method, this whole chart here aligns with this. See that? So we gotten everything done from 2022 into 2024, and now we're in 2025. It's ready to go. This guy is ready to go. So yeah, Alibaba. You'll probably see a better time to get into Alibaba. IREN, yeah, I know about IREN. Tropes. IREN it also does crypto. Okay, IREN does crypto too. So a lot of the crypto mining stocks, they also kind of dabble into AI, and AI is kind of escape valve. If they don't make enough money mining Bitcoin, they'll just run to AI. So yeah, I know about IREN. Tropes, and yeah, BBAI, I know about that one as well. But when I was recommending AI stocks, I was like AI. So C3AI, this one, right? You see this one? Yeah, I was recommending this one, but we already completed the move from $20 to 42. We've come back to 30, but I think we're done here. And then there was BBAI. I know about that one, yeah. So this one's a lot more volatile, a lot more risky. I don't know. It depends. It depends on your risk tolerance here. And then the other one was Sound, SOUN. This one also completed its move from $5 to 20 something. This was a great one that people played already, and it can't get back above 18. So I think this might be finished here. So it's been trying, but I think if the market rolls over, SOUN, yeah. And there was a lot of other ones that you mentioned. Let me see. I had a list. Let's see. So the other ones that Nvidia got involved in, AUR. Let's look at that one. AUR. See how that one's doing. Yeah, it's stuck. All right. So Aurora Innovation. We'll have to see what that does. And ARBE. Yeah, ARBE. Yeah, say, whoa, yeah, this stock. Whew. All right. Yeah, good luck with that. So ARBE Robotics, and then CRNC. So yeah, same thing. Yeah, you get this initial pump, you fall back. So it used to be at 27, goes back to, yeah. So if you like volatility, fine, yeah. But you can see, like, with this one, right, there's very little volume here. All of a sudden it gets more excited, but once the volume dries up, it's going to be easy to just push this right back down. So that's kind of the thing. When liquidity is scarce, these kind of stocks, they go bye-bye. Yeah. So I think March, April is not going to be a good time. So watch for that point if you're interested. But yeah, I'll keep watching them. TEM. Oh yeah, the Nancy Pelosi stock. Oh, so Nancy Pelosi seems to like this AI stock. So when it was like people figured out that she was in it, they started pumping this thing from 45 to like 70 again. And you see this resistance level. Yeah, we're right back here. That's not a good sign. Going into earnings on the 26th too. All right, yeah. Let's see what happens. If you can get it at a cheaper price, I'll definitely do it. But by the time you figure out that Nancy Pelosi owns it, you already overpaid, right? So you could have been here at 33. People are just chasing at 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 now, nearly 80. Yeah. So it's too late. But yeah, keep that in mind. similar to Palantir. Yeah, I knew. I mean, I heard it, but it's really a tiny stock right now, and this is not a good time. So if you buy it when everybody hates semiconductors, hates AI, hates software, like in 2022, it's a good time to buy. When you're like buying when everybody loves it, yeah, that's the problem. We're at the wrong end of the cycle. If BBAI, you know, this thing was actually doing, because I've been in it several times. I was like, here, goes up, falls back, goes up, falls back, and now you're doing this. Guess what's gonna happen next? It's probably gonna fall back again. Really annoying. You want something steady that goes up, and yeah, you just got a lot of liquidity moving in. And once Palantir got into the S&P 500, the Nasdaq 100, that's it. That's a time to get out. You're done, because now it's mainstream, right? So if you're looking for stocks that are not mainstream, yeah, you're gonna have to wait for the right cycle. This is probably too late now in this point. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see though. I'll keep that in mind. I think my cousin is in it, so I mentioned it to her, like BBAI, SOUN, like all these type of things. I mentioned that, and I was like, yeah. If you want high risk stocks, get in, go for it. But you know, it depends on the person. Yeah, it really depends on the person. I don't know at this point. GDXU, yeah, that's a 3x leverage of GDX Solid Snake. This is too late now. I'm in silver miners, gold miners, yeah, but this area here is pretty bad, because if you look at the GDX chart, you see that I have two lines here between 36.9 and 41.78. Someone on the Sunday stream got deleted, but somebody asked like, hey, what do you think about gold and silver? I was like, long term is good, short term not good, because now we're back up here, and I think gold will probably continue going sideways or lower into 2026 at some point. There's going to be a big push up in gold, so you're going to see a really strong push up on gold. I'm not sure about silver. Hopefully silver will go with it, and you'll get a big move in silver, because silver has been stuck below $32 an ounce, and I'm waiting for it to get to 40 something. Once you see that, get out, because that's the last blow off. Commodities always have a big push up and then just drop immediately. All right, that's how commodities work. If you look at natural gas and things like that, yeah, they always have that kind of structure where they have this big monster move up and then they just crash, you know, and then once they give away, like you see this. So this natural gas, this was like during that whole time with Russia and the initial Russia push and the sanctions and all that. This was great. This was a great trade. This whole area here was great. This was beautiful. Man. If you got in here, you know, you made tons of money doing this. But then once it gave up, because the winters were getting milder, there wasn't any major storms in Europe or America. So, and also the Chinese economy was faltering at that point. So that was made it worse too. So when the coal prices was going down, because China wasn't, like, economy was dying, and then you had a bunch of people not using natural gas to heat up their homes over the winter, and the European economy also was pretty weak, so they're not using natural gas for their factories. And then after that, it just collapsed. It just went whoop, collapsed. So now we're building this new base here. You see this one? So natural gas is ready to go back up, baby. Yeah. So if you're looking, we're gonna see what natural gas companies will do in spring. So I have like EE. See, this thing's been holding in a holding pattern at 30, and it's been going up even before like Trump. And then you have LNG. Yeah, that's a famous one. It kind of had a blow off here though. It shot up to 250 in January and just came back here. So yeah, so hold your horses. Don't be buying these things right now. ET is like transportation of natural gas, so it has earnings tomorrow or today. Oh, it's today after the close. So I'm watching this. If this thing falls through, then yeah, that's probably a good time to buy in the next couple months. So ET Energy Transfer LP Limited Partnership. Okay. Let's see. 2x ETF ORC. Yeah, there's always going to be a new one. They always come out with new ones, man. That's probably a bad sign. There's always going to be a bad sign. I don't know what this one does though. Shit. Is this a popular one? What the heck? Oh, Oracle? Oracle gets a 2x? Oh, that's what it is? Oh, so 2x Oracle is ORCX. Okay, ORCL because oh my god, that's bad. That's a bad sign. That's really a bad sign. Oracle gets one too? No. Any good books you could Solid. I think what you should do is oof, yeah, this is a bad sign. The market's over. If you're making a 2x ETF of Oracle, your market might as well collapse right now. So let me see. Let me see what I can get for you. Solid. So that's a good one. Let me see. What's the best one to do it? I think you should just read this one first. Solid. It's probably the best one for you. Go for trading in the zone, yeah. Yeah, go for trading in the zone first. Solid. And the thing with Joe Ray, Tropes mentioned Joe Rabel. You don't need to buy his book. You can go to his YouTube channel and just watch old videos, and you'll get an idea of what the whole idea is. All right, let me. Oh man. Oh, okay, yeah. Let me see. So see if you like that. So solid, yeah. Go here too. Trading in the zone. You can read that one. That's psychology. That's important. You need the psychology. And then you do invest like a pro. That's where Joe Rabel does it. So watch the videos. Just watch a bunch of his short videos. You'll get an idea of what he's doing. Okay, that'll be good for a beginner. And then from there, we can move on from there because you can do the, let me see. Okay, go here. I think. Let me see. No, not that. Yeah, they took away that website. Shoot. Blah blah blah. Wyckoff. Let's see. Wyckoff method. And then you read this, okay? Go to the Wyckoff Analytics and read this one. Read this article. Just read this one, Wyckoff method, and then come back to me. Yeah, that's basically beginner stuff. Once you learn that, you can figure out what to do. It's not easy. Okay, let's see. Bitcoin still doing that. Nothing. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow in the morning then. Yeah, because there's nothing here going on. QQQ still above this rectangle I drew from 518 to 525. So tomorrow, let's see. SPY. Again, we've already bounced from its rectangle, still staying above, so nothing there either. But if you look at the small caps, not good, right? Here, we're falling back. So we tried to get above this area. So small caps, this rectangle set back in 2021 between 213 and 230. Still failing to get above it. Not a good sign. So I can't get aggressive on anything. XBI, biotech. So this is not good. This is the worst looking thing I've seen. If tomorrow's CPI number at 8:30, okay, Eastern, is not good, then bye-bye. Bye-bye everything. No more growth stocks, no more nothing. You're not going to see anything from DNA or AAOI or all the stuff I've been mentioning. Those things will only go up if I get a good CPI number. If I don't get that good CPI number, I'm going to see this thing drop like crazy. Yeah, and then once SMCI reports earnings, if that's bad too, then Nvidia is going to drop. Then you have the small caps drop, and then Tesla is already weakening right here. That's going to drop. And I'm pretty sure everything else is going to drop. Bitcoin, MSTR, I'm just going to short everything. All right? So tomorrow is going to be a big deal. I think we have nothing else going on because all the major earnings are over. Okay. Good luck. Natural gas is doing okay, but I'm not going to do anything with natural gas right now. All right. Let me see what we got for the next video here. I think Jerome Powell is going to start arguing with what's her face? That white woman that pretends she's Indian or something. I forgot her name. I don't follow politics enough. I just remember she was like fake Pocahontas or something.
Over the weekend, Co-President Musk and Acting Director Vogt effectively shut down the CFPB. No more cop on the beat looking out for a family of four in South Carolina facing an illegal foreclosure. No more cop on the beat looking out for your grandma whose bank account has just been taken over by a scammer. No more cop on the beat looking out for people getting ripped off by giant credit card companies that are charging illegal junk fees. It also means that the CFPB is no longer doing one of its most important jobs, examining big banks to root out illegal conduct before it happens, or at least stop it before more people get hurt. Chair Powell, if the CFPB isn't on the job right now, then who is administering JP Morgan or Wells Fargo's consumer compliance exams to ensure that they are following the law?
Senator, I believe that, and you would know, that Dodd-Frank moved all authority for examinations in the consumer space to the CFPB. We still have some jurisdiction.
We'll talk about that in a sec. But the answer to my question, please. If the CFPB is not there examining these giant banks to make sure they are following the laws on not cheating consumers, who is doing that job?
I can say no other federal regulator.
No one, in other words. So thanks to Co-President Musk and CFPB Acting Director Vogt, Wall Street banks no longer have to show the bank examiners that they're not illegally opening accounts people didn't ask for, like happened with Wells Fargo, or charging illegal junk fees like the Bank of America did. But CFPB has jurisdiction only on banks that have more than $10 billion in assets. So what's happening in thousands of community banks all around the country, those that have less than $10 billion in assets? So Chair Powell, as you know, the Fed oversees consumer compliance for state member banks that have less than $10 billion in assets. Has the Fed suspended consumer compliance exams for those smaller banks, or is the Fed still on the job to make sure that those smaller banks are following consumer financial laws?
Still on the job, business as usual.
All right. By forcing the CFPB not to do its job, President Trump, Elon Musk, and the author of Project 2025, Russ Vought, are giving Wall Street banks an unlimited get-out-of-jail-free card so they can cheat working families, even while community banks continue to play by the rules. You know, for any Americans who have money deposited at JP Morgan or Wells Fargo or any other of the giant banks, they should now know that there is no one on the job to make sure that those banks are not scamming you. Only the smaller banks now have a cop on the beat to make sure that they aren't cheating consumers. You know, if I have my money in one of those giant banks, I might think about going to a smaller bank where the protection, at least right now, is a whole lot better. Now, at the same time that the CFPB is under attack, the Fed is buckling to pressure from Wall Street to erase other safeguards for the too big to fail banks. During the first Trump administration, under your leadership, the Fed weakened the big bank stress tests, including by giving the big banks some of the answers to the test in advance. I called you out on it, but you promised right here in this committee that you would not give those banks the whole answer key. I'm going to quote you back. You said, complete knowledge of the models could lead to a model monoculture in which all firms have similar internal stress testing models, which could increase the correlation of risk in the system and miss key idiosyncratic risks faced by the firms. I agreed with you. But several weeks ago, the Fed announced that it has plans to do exactly that, hand all of the answers over to the giant banks. Chair Powell, why is the Fed about to propose a rule that directly contradicts your own testimony and in your own words would render the stress tests toothless?
Senator, in essence, because the ground has shifted very substantially in administrative law, and we actually want the stress test to remain resilient to that. And so we're making changes to accomplish that.
Well, the changes are changes you've identified earlier as making those tests toothless. Look, the big banks are going to juice shareholder payouts and leave this economy more vulnerable to a crash. The Fed is knuckling under to bank lobbyists. We know how this ends. People will suffer. Wall Street will get bailed out. I urge you, Chair Powell, to serve Main Street instead of Wall Street. Don't weaken these rules.
Thank you. Senator Rounds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, thank you for coming before the committee. I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you. I've got a series of questions, but I would like to give you an opportunity, if you would like. The suggestion that the ranking member has made here is that the big banks can now scam individuals right now. Any change in the laws regarding how they're supposed to be treating the individual consumers out there or anything along that line?
Law changes? No, I'm not aware of any.
Any
law
changes, any rules that they would have to follow?
Not that I'm aware of.
Are they still audited, and do they still have the regulators in watching all of their businesses just as they did before?
Well, they'd have all the regulators except for the CFPB.
Very good.
If in fact, in the hypothetical, the CFPB weren't carrying that out.
Anything else you'd like to add before we move on?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we continue to prioritize the stability and the resilience of our financial system, the ongoing Basel III rulemaking process has remained front and center in shaping our regulatory framework. I guess I was rather outspoken with my opposition to the original proposal, and further work was stalled at the end of the last year. I guess my question for you today, sir, is could you provide an update on the Federal Reserve's progress in finalizing the Basel III endgame rulemaking process?
I'd be glad to. So we remain committed to completing Basel III endgame. We think it's good for U.S. banks. It's good for our economy that there be a global standard beneath which foreign banks can't fall. And that was one of the big ideas behind the whole Basel committee approach. So where it sits now is we await leadership arriving at the OCC and the FDIC, and that seems to be happening. And when that happens, we're going to sit down with them and work our way through to a Basel III endgame proposal. And I think we can do this reasonably quickly, one that is compliant, consistent with the Basel requirements, and also consistent with what other large jurisdictions are doing. I'm optimistic that we can do that fairly quickly, and we're committed to doing that.
We always wanted our banks to be competitive with European banks. And I'm just curious, the original proposal that was in front of you, and I'd like your thoughts on this, it was estimated to increase our bank's capital by 19%, which I think may very well have created a potential disadvantage within the U.S. institutions versus our European counterparts. With any new proposal, what's your thoughts? Would you make a commitment that this would be a neutral approach with regard to capital?
The main commitment I'll make is we'll work together with new leadership at the other banking agencies to do something. But that's certainly, you know, I've said many times in this committee that I think that the level of capital in the largest banks is about right, and so it'll shake out somewhere in that area, I would guess.
Our expectation would be, and the markets would expect, that it would be neutral with regard to capital.
In that range, but I want to defer to our new colleagues and get their views as well. But that's a good starting place.
All right. Yeah, Basel. They talk about Basel 3 at the end there. You gotta really look that up. I mentioned it a few times on John Galt's channel. So let me see. What's the timeline here? What's the timeline? Let me see. Finalize Basel 4 coming. What you need to know. Oh, come on. I don't got time to read all this shit. Oh, man. This is like financial. Ugh. Like, when is it going to happen? Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. I know it's going to happen in a couple years, or at least maybe next year it'll be finished. Okay, let's see. Basel III Endgame is essentially considered the final stage of Basel III regulations, with the implementation timeline currently set to begin around July 1st, 2025. While Basel IV is often used to describe the potential future significant changes to banking regulations beyond Basel III with no concrete timeline yet established. Oh, great. Meaning Basel III Endgame is expected to be implemented before any potential Basel IV rules come into effect. Essentially, Basel III Endgame is the current focus for regulatory changes, while Basel IV is more speculative future concept. Oh, my God. Oh, man. Crap. All right, so this is something that will probably go underneath everything that I've been talking about. So if you watch some of my videos, I talk about liquidity issues and stock market goes up because of liquidity. This whole Basel 3, Basel 4 stuff is going to be, who knows. And on top of that, Trump can remove Jerome Powell May 2026. Okay, so we got July 2025, Basel 3 endgame. Then we'll have a period of nobody knowing what the heck they're going to do for Basel 4 up until Jerome Powell potentially could get kicked out by Trump in May of 2026. So we got something going on there underneath, okay? And one of these days I'll have to go over more of the liquidity thing. Let me see if I can find it. Liquidity, blah, blah, blah. Oh. I think his name was Max Anderson. So he was pretty popular person to cite. Max Anderson. Let's see if I can find his old, because I actually archived it. Good thing I did, because all that stuff is removed now from Twitter. Okay. So let me get that. So I'll show you this. I was gonna do a dedicated stream just on talking about this stuff. You know, put the link in the chat so you can look at it. This was written in July 11th, I think 2021 or something. Let me see. I archived this in maybe it was 2022. I don't know. It doesn't say what year it was. But here, well, this was Thread Art Reader archived version here. Something magic happened in July 2020. Since then, you can predict the future with 95% accuracy. It's worked perfectly for over 2 years. The 1% who know have made billions betting on it, but nobody else is paying attention. Here's how you can use this too. You've heard of the Fed's balance sheet, the Fed fund rate, and how they've been a central driver of markets for decades. But the truth is, the size of the Fed's balance sheet doesn't matter, and the FFR matters even less. Don't believe me? The Fed's balance sheet and FFR used to matter a lot. They were the central driver of markets for a long time, but the world changed in 2020. The system was rebuilt, and the rules were completely rewritten. You see, in mid-2020, the Fed threw a party, the most grand fiesta of all time. It printed around $4.5 trillion, an unprecedented world-shattering golden shower of money, and it roughly doubled the size of its balance sheet. But you're probably already aware of this. All right, you see that? This is total assets, less eliminations from consolidation. All right, you can. What's different this time around is what happened with that money. Not to be one up, the U.S. Treasury set down its margarita and beer bonged a fifth of financial tequila to the face, provisioning itself with $1.8 trillion, 4.5 times what it had ever done before. Liabilities and capitals, liabilities, deposits with Federal Reserve banks other than reserve balances, U.S. Treasury, general account week average. Okay, you see that? Right there. As it deployed that 1.8 trillion, something remarkable happened. The fire hose of money coming out of the Treasury was so big, it became sole driver of markets. Liquidity took over as the only thing that mattered. S&P 500 snapped near perfect inverse correlation with TGA balance. TGA is Treasury General Account Balance. Okay. Oh man, don't go there. Let's see. So you see that TGA goes down, TGA goes up, stocks go up and down with it. So TGA was drained to push up the stocks during that 2021 period. Eventually, things got out of hand. The flood of liquidity drove the cost of living for Americans 33% higher in another 2 years. It was a runaway shit show with no signs of slowing. Here goes your inflation. Right there, median sales of houses sold. So that's the price of houses. This was bad. The Fed and Treasury knew they needed to call the cops on their own party, but they wanted to do it mostly in secret. So they kept us focused on the old metrics, FFR and the size of the Fed's balance sheet, and began executing an ingenious plan in the background. Treasury issued fewer short-dated T-bills. This created a shortage of low-duration paper that financial institutions needed to be able to provide liquidity to the economy. Simultaneously, Fed raised award rate on reverse repo. We talked about this already. The next best low-duration risk alternative. All right. Overnight reverse repo agreements award Treasury securities sold by the Federal Reserve on a temporary open market operations 31x. Actually, probably is a good time to talk about reverse repos right here. Let me go to the latest McOscillator. Let's see. This is the latest one. October 2024. Nope. Go back here. Reverse repo warning. All right. Let me read this one since we're on reverse repos. So this, you should go to this article. Okay, I'll put in the chat. Yeah, go here. All right, let me open it. Since we're talking about reverse repo warning. Okay. McClellan Oscillator. All right, so this is the McClellan Financial Publications, McOscillator.com. McClellan Financial Publications 2025. Okay, end of quarter effect. So these spikes, ignore them. And this is reverse repos, billions of dollars inverted, shifted 5 trading days forward. Okay, so if you got a lot of reverse repo, you can keep pushing the market up. We are about to head to zero right now. Fear not the end of reverse repos. The Fed can always go back to doing outright repurchase agreements. A lot of analysts have noted that the size of the Fed's book in reverse repurchase agreements, RRP reverse repos, has gotten really small lately. The New York Fed reports its level daily via the St. Louis Fed Great FRED website at https://fred.stlouisfed.org/data/rrpontsyd. Good luck with that. Those data are what I show in the chart above with a couple of adjustments. The first is that I invert the scaling so the shrinkage of RRPs show up as an uptrend to better match the stock market. The second adjustment is that I have shifted forward the plot of RRPs by 5 trading days to show how their movements get echoed in the stock prices a week later. So that's what he did there. So the RRPs are actually going down. And actually, I can show you the website with the RRPs. Reverse repo. I've already shown this many a times, but might as well show you it again here. You can go here. You can see what they're doing. They don't hide this stuff. It's hidden in plain sight. Right here. So this is a reverse repo. You can see that. You see this? Okay, let me zoom out to 2018. You see that? Can you see what the stock market was doing between 2021 to 2022? And then it just went again. So when the Fed, right, in 2021 said, like, wait a minute, we're not going to pump the stock market no more. We're going to raise interest rates. That's when this thing just plateaued out, right? And then once we started saying, okay, hold on, we're going to stop raising interest rates, then this thing started going back down. When this thing went back down, guess what? We had 2 years of back-to-back S&P 500 going up 20%. All right? Now, the last time the S&P 500 had some trouble was here in 2018. Okay, let me go back there. 2018. This was the last time we had a major correction before COVID. I'll ignore COVID. COVID was a special case. So around here, when January 2018, and then suddenly it started dropping. We had less and less reverse repos. Guess what happened? Eventually, during September, October 2018, the stock market went down. That was when the liquidity ran out. We ran out of liquidity. And that's when this Jerome Powell, he was still here. Okay, he said, oh, I'm going to stop raising interest rates. All right, so let's get back to the story. To understand the repo market, I suggest that you read What is a Repurchase Agreement from the folks at Investopedia. The short version is that a repo is a loan to a bank or hedge fund. So if the Fed or anyone makes more of these loans, then the hedge fund honchos have more money to pour into the stock market. If you reduce such lending to hedge funds, then they have to find other sources to borrow from or close out positions to pay back the loan, and stock prices tend to fall. A reverse repo does it the other way, wherein a bank buys treasuries from the Fed to make its balance sheet look better, but pledges its loan portfolio as collateral. The Fed agrees to buy back those same treasuries at a later date. Doing more reverse repos means more capital gets tied up and is not available to do things like lift stock prices. Unwinding those RRPs means more capital is available, and it works its way into the stock market with about a 1-week lag. I've highlighted in that chart above that activity picks up in RRPs at the end of every calendar quarter as part of the banks doing window dressing. Those end of quarter spikes do not seem to get echoed in stock prices, but other movements do. All right, so you can read the rest of this thing on your own. All right, so you have an idea. That's why reverse repos matter. And then we can go back to here to Max Anderson's little thing. So the result, over $2 trillion of liquidity got sucked into reverse repos and became unavailable to circulate in the economy, 6 times more than had ever been done before. Overnight reverse repurchase agreements Treasury Secretary sold by the Treasury Federal Reserve and a temporary open market operation. So what does this all mean, and why does it matter, and how does it help you predict the future? It all comes down to something called net liquidity. Net liquidity is the amount of dollars actually available to circulate in the economy. It is calculated as follows: size of the Fed's balance sheet minus how much of that has been sucked into the Treasury minus how much has been sucked into the reverse out of the reverse repo. So that's your equation right there. And if you know that equation, you can know where the stock market is going. So yeah, so you can read more of that as well. I put all the links in there, and we'll probably have to go over this once again for you guys to understand why stock markets do what they do. But you know, you don't need to go into the minutia of it. All right, let's see what other videos I got left here. Crypto regulations. Let's see what I got. I haven't watched this one. I'm curious to see what is the crypto regulation the new SEC commissioner on crypto says.
First, about what's already in standing. There have been a lot of enforcement actions really brought forward by the previous Gensler administration. Are any of those cases going to now be dropped?
Well, Sonali, it's great to be here, and you point out that the enforcement cases that we were left with do complicate the situation. We have been using enforcement cases to set regulatory policy. We're trying to shift that so we actually set policy and then we bring enforcement cases as needed. But we will have to untangle the cases that are there, and that will require some work. But also, it's facts and circumstances. We have to look at each case on its merits as we go forward.
As we mentioned earlier, the SEC filed a request to put its case against Binance on hold. What other cases do you have to untangle?
Well, I think people know that we've brought a lot of cases over recent years against a number of people, of entities in the crypto space, and we have to look at each one of those on its own facts. But you know, there are a lot of cases out there, so that is one piece of the work that's going to require time and patience.
I also want to talk about the agencies themselves. If you think about the SEC and the CFTC as well, how soon do you think it's going to be worked out in terms of where ultimate authority over the crypto industry is going to be? Is there a case to be made that the SEC over the CFTC should kind of be the ultimate arbiter here, or do you think it should be the other way around?
I think, again, there are a lot of things going on here. One is that we're working on looking at our jurisdiction that we currently have and saying what falls inside that jurisdiction, what falls outside that jurisdiction. And then we can point out to Congress where we think there are gaps, where maybe something is not covered by our jurisdiction, not the CFTC's, not the FTC's. And then it's up to Congress to fill that in. Of course, Congress is working in parallel. They're working on legislative efforts to provide more clarity. And so we're always, willing to shift course if they decide we should have more jurisdiction or less jurisdiction.
Commissioner, how do you feel about this idea that's been put forward, largely by academics really at this point, about a potential merging of the two agencies? Do you think that there is some sensibility here for there to be one agency rather than two disparate ones in a move really that would clear up some confusion, not just for the crypto industry, but for financial enforcement writ large?
That is definitely above my pay grade. I've a lot of issues I have to worry about, and that whatever that is, we have worked well with the CFTC in the past on issues like derivatives policy, and I'm happy to work with them on crypto policy as well. In fact, we are trying to coordinate even now.
Well, as we've mentioned, you're the head of the SEC's crypto task force. You're widely seen as an advocate for the industry. I have this really basic question. Why are you such a proponent of crypto? In your view, what purpose does it serve?
So I would take a little bit of issue with that question. I don't describe myself as an advocate of the industry. I'm a freedom maximalist, though, and I think what the approach that we've been taking to crypto has been one of using regulation to stop people from trying to do interesting things they want to do. We actually have a very flexible regulatory framework. Congress saw the need to give us exemptive authority, for example. We have the ability to use these things. And instead, we've just put roadblock after roadblock up against people who are trying to
come in and talk to us as we've asked them to do, or come in and register as we've asked them to do. And so all I'm asking is that we have an innovation policy that allows people to innovate and that allows people to try new things. And that's really applies across the board. I think there are other areas where we need to be better on innovation too. But watching what's happened to crypto over the past several years has just been extremely frustrating for someone who believes that government is there to serve the American people, not to stymie them when they're trying new things.
Does that mean that, in your view, crypto does have a purpose, and what is that purpose?
Well, I think that there is a lot of really interesting work that is being done and that will be done involving crypto. I mean, the technology allows people to coordinate in ways that was not possible before, people who don't know each other. And in the past, it's been very difficult for people to build something with other people across the world they don't know. But this creates a trust mechanism that really does enable people to do interesting things. You can build things on a public blockchain, and you can build things in the financial world. We might see some integration of blockchain technology into the traditional financial world. You can do things outside of finance as well using the technology. So I think it remains to be seen where it will go, but I'm excited to see where it takes us.
You refer to yourself as a freedom maximalist. Does a freedom maximalist, does that mean there should be no regulation in this space?
We live in a country where we have a very established financial regulatory framework and other regulatory frameworks as well. The one I've worked in is the financial regulatory framework. And I'm committed to using the existing statutory framework that we have. And as I've said in announcing this task force, it doesn't mean a free-for-all. It doesn't mean you get to do whatever you want. We have rules in place, and those rules will be enforced. But I think in this country, regulation is designed to create some basic parameters and then let people have the maximum freedom to innovate and try new things within that. And frankly, allowing people who desire to participate as investors or purchasers to have that freedom too, with the understanding that with that comes responsibility, and that if something goes wrong, you don't necessarily have someone to run to. But of course we have rules in place, and of course we will continue to enforce those rules.
Commissioner, I want to go back also to a letter that you wrote, a statement that you wrote a week ago. And the title of this is "The Journey Begins." In that letter, you talk about how the commission is working hard to process applications for exemptive relief. Could you give us some clarity, some more color around what types of exemptive relief you are looking to grant companies right now?
Well, so there are a couple different strands that we're working on. There have been a lot of exchange-traded product applications that have come in, and so that's one thing that we're looking at. But we've also invited people in to get relief from particular provisions of the statutes and regulations where they're bumping up into problems because there's something unusual about the technology that doesn't fit with the legacy statutes and regulations. So we have this authority to use. We can use it on a case-by-case basis. We can do it on a class basis if there's a set of people in the industry who need relief. So we're looking at all kinds of different adjustments that people need to be made. Again, maintaining our commitment to our three-part mission, which does include investor protection.
The other part I'm wondering about is when it comes to exchanges in particular. For the path to registration, do you see a path prior to any legislation taking effect? Do you think that this process could be facilitated faster?
I think the first question that we have to ask is this a trading platform that's trading something that is a security, in which case there would be a need to register with us. And we have exchanges, and we have ATSs as well, which are a different form of trading venue. And so that's something that people can try to use in the crypto space. So we're willing to work with people on those kinds of applications as well.
Finally, you mentioned kind of the ETFs that have been looking to register. Of course, there has been a lot of them tied to many different assets. How are you looking at these filings coming through? And to the extent that there could be some restrictions, where would they be and what would they involve?
I think what we're trying to do is apply precedent the way that in a way that's consistent, so that we're trying to stay consistent with the past, yet looking to the new technology to see if there's anything about it that enables us to tailor or craft our approach. So we're really looking at the whole gamut. We're getting a lot of these in, and so we're trying to take a holistic look, yet also looking at each one in its facts and circumstances, and we'll provide guidance as we can do it. If there's sort of universal guidance we can provide, we'll do that, but it's still early stages.
Commissioner, does the president and first lady launching their own meme coins make your job more difficult?
I think one of the things we're trying to do is look at categories of tokens that are out there. There are lots of people who are introducing meme coins right now. Facts and circumstances matter. We always have to look at the facts and circumstances. But many of the meme coins that are out there probably do not have a home as in the SEC under our current set of regulations. And so again, if that's something that Congress wants to address, they can do that. Maybe that's something the CFTC wants to address. But many of those, I think, probably are not within our jurisdiction.
Finally, I want to ask you, before we let you go here, we had referenced the 60-day pause of the SEC Binance lawsuit. Do you see a pathway to drop the lawsuit entirely, or is this something that the new SEC will still want to be pursuing?
Well, I can't talk about any specific case. I think we are looking at each case on its facts and circumstances. And bearing in mind, this is a really unusual situation for us to be in. During the past several years, enforcement cases have been used as a way to make regulatory policy. That is very atypical. And we're trying to get back to the path where we're really using our other tools to make policy, and we're dealing with enforcement issues using our enforcement tools. And so that all needs to be worked out.
Commissioner, before we let you go, a question about deferred resignation offers. Can you tell us how many employees have taken the administration's deferred resignation offer? And is there some sort of target for how many staff the agency could lay off?
So I don't know the answer to your question. As you know, the deferred resignation program the timeline has been extended out on that due to court consideration of that program. What I will say is that we have a lot of really fantastic people working at the SEC. I've had the chance to work with them now for the past 7 years, and they're doing really important work. And I want to continue working with such wonderful people. And so we'll, of course, be, as I think everyone in the government is doing, thinking about how we can do our jobs more efficiently and effectively. That's something that should always be on our minds, but we do have a wonderful workforce.
Is it overstaffed in your view?
I think one thing to remember is that the capital markets in the United States are not only very large, but they're very important, the most important in the world. And so there are always more things that you can do with your resources. We can always examine more firms. We can always look at more registration statements. We can always bring more enforcement actions. It's a question of getting the balance right and thinking, how can we best use the resources we have, the very talented people we have? Do we need to redeploy them? Are they being used in the right way? And those are questions that any SEC leadership is always asking. How can we best use the resources we have? Where do we need to move people? That any SEC leadership is always asking. How can we best use the resources we have? Where do we need to move people? Where do we need to move people? Where do we need to move people? Where do we?
Man, I don't know. Streamlabs has some weird thing where it always cuts out some piece of the end of that thing. So anyway, okay. Let's look at what's going on after market. Supermicro was down nearly 4%. Okay. After earnings, we got that. Upstart is up 21%. UPST, great. I like this stock. Hopefully things don't get killed tomorrow at the CPI. And then we got Lyft down 8%, but Mobileye is not flinching off of that, so it's not affecting Mobileye. And Supermicro with the down 4% is not doing much to Nvidia right now. Nvidia is still at 132, so no effect there. DoorDash is now up 5% after being down like 2-3% at the beginning, initial reaction, so that's good. All right, so let's see what's going to happen. I think tomorrow we'll have to get the CPI numbers. Supermicro, I'm assuming, is going to get very tired very quickly. Too many people have been buying that thing up to $42. It's going to be ripe for a sell tomorrow. I'm not sure if that's going to be a good trade or not. I'm going to look at Bitcoin as well. If it does a false rejection here, because Bitcoin closed quite weak. It's ready to be shorted. It's ready to collapse. But hey, I could also see this thing rallying 8:30 tomorrow, pre-market into the market open. False breakdown, extreme move back up to 103,000 again. So good trade. So I'm going to look at MSTR tomorrow, see if I'm going to buy a punch there. Okay, looks like SMCI is trying to recover already. Okay, well, let's see. So it was down 3 to 4%. Now it's down 1%. Wow. All right, there's a lot of people gambling. A lot of people gambling on all kinds of things. So let's see. 8:30, watching everything I've been mentioning. We got Asan. We have what else? Freaking DNA, AAOI, all kinds of stuff, right? A lot of small time stocks. And then you got Upstart now. Ooh, looking good. Looking real good. Let's see. Upstart. So I said 73 was a problem for Upstart. It's right at 81 now. Huh. So yeah, okay. Oh yeah, that's really good. Okay, that's really good. Let's see if it holds. All right, tomorrow morning, watch it. Watch if it holds. So you see that purple line right there? So between this range of 48 and 72 point whatever. Now it's at like aftermarket, it's around 81. See if it holds. If it holds 72 tomorrow, then it can continue on for the rest of the month. Because this is like, if you look at the weekly chart on Upstart, UPST, same thing like a firm. These kind of charts, they're ready to fly. These things are ready to fly. If they can hold, though. And we'll have to see how the CPI numbers come tomorrow. So these kind of stocks, they're ready. They're ready to go. That's why DNA, same thing, is kind of like, oh, man, look at that. It's trying to reverse, you see? It's trying to reverse. All these things are trying to reverse. You kind of look for stocks like this, where you have a big reversal. And you got Twilio coming around on Thursday. It's going to release earnings on Thursday. You see this? Yeah, bathtub type thing. Twilio, TWLO. And what's the other one? Asan. Yeah, Asan. Another one, same thing. You see this. You make a large base like this, and then you're ready to fly. Okay? Alrighty. So let's see what's the next video I got to show about Musk. Something about Musk. Oh, man. Here, I got to go take a break for a while. So before I show Musk stuff, let me show you this gold. So some people were asking about gold. So here.
This episode would see. So today is also, again, the time to put in some questions. So I will take the time at the end to get back to your topics. Yeah, let's talk about the gold price. And for sure, I mean, we are the foundation for the study of cycles. So let's analyze some cycles on the gold price, right? So therefore, let's jump into our studio here. This is the weekly series. So let's start with the weekly long-term perspective as always. And then let's ramp up a fresh, just as everyone would see that chart. So this is the basic view, how everyone would see the gold price analysis. If you open our cycle analyzer dashboard, it's loading the past 850 bars. By design, you can change this if required. but let's start with that setting first. So we have enough history to analyze the current past with analyzing weekly data. On the bottom here, we can see the spectrum analysis of that weekly series. And here to the right, we see the peaks, so the cycles which have been detected by that or in this spectrum here. And the most prominent peaks are shown by our ranking mechanism. So there are two, but I will walk you through also from the spectrum perspective. So I think it's quite clear that there is one key dominant cycle in that series, which is here visible with 230 weeks. That's the most dominant cycle in the weekly series we can observe here on Galt. The reason why that's the most dominant, so you can see to the left shoulder here, it even goes down to the 0 line. So the separation to the left and to the right of this peak in the spectrum is quite close to perfect. And from the amplitude separation, there's also a huge offset between the next lower peak, which is just on this level here. So the gap that there's no amplitude here in the lower range would clearly identify this as the most outstanding dominant cycle. You could argue to the right that there might be a second longer term one with a length of 365 weeks, which is shown here. But if you know how to read that spectrum, that's more like plateauish. Yeah, it's so the sharpness of this peak is quite more obvious from a visual perspective than this view here. And the second feature, which gives me an indication maybe not to use this longer term one, is the so-called strength value. Yeah, so the table by design is sorted by strength, and the strength score is an indication how much influence that cycle length has to the price movements compared or relative to the other cycles. So, and we just should compare them in a relative fashion. So the cycle with a length of 230 has a strength score over 3, while this one has 1.6. So this 230 week cycle is more powerful in regards to the price action. So it's has twice the impact on the price compared to the 365. So 365 weeks. So said that, therefore I would not use this one even if this is anyhow outstanding. So it's the quite obvious one to watch out here is this long-term cycle. So therefore let's now activate this cycle here on the chart. So when we see this cycle has rolled over since November, December, now into a long-term downward phase, which goes through the complete 2025 into even late 2026. So for the next 2 years, this cycle is in a downward situation and the last upswing cycle. So we could also argue we are close to a regime change. So 2023 to 2024, this has been the upward leg. Now the next leg, which is around the corner, is more showing the downward phase of that cycle. I mean, for sure, that's not enough to give us some valid trade decision making, but at least we need to be aware where we are in that long-term cycle. We could even load some more data to our chart. So even if this is what I partially recommend. We can also move to log scale. Let's anchor the start somewhere here at the kilo 2001. Let's update the analysis. So this is the huge upswing. Now taking into account 1,300 bars. So 1,300 weeks going back into the year of 2000. So 24 years of data using here in that analysis. And you can still see, I mean, slightly changed. Yeah, it's not 230, but you can see how dominant this peak is even if we add more data to our analysis. And I think that's quite interesting. So even if we add more data, You need to be careful with the phasing of the current phase, but it's not quite a big difference here. So we can identify this long-term cycle on gold, which seems to be rolling over or has rolled over just in the past 2 weeks. What I might highlight here is another feature which I just recommend, but let's switch to the normal view here. What you see now here at the bottom of that chart is what we call the cycle highlighter, which gives you an easier way to just verify this individual cycle. So we are just plotting the cycle with 239 weeks, yeah, over the price series. But here at the bottom, and to verify amplitude and phase shifts in that cycle, which is not easy to spot in the top window here, but at the bottom, you see the same theoretical cycle plotted in red. That's the same as on the top here. And in light blue, I hope you can see this in the video stream, we see just the extracted price movement related to the length of 239 weeks. So the blue line here is exactly the price movement related to a length of 239 weeks, overlaid now on the theoretical cycle. In an ideal world, you will see a perfect match between the price cycle of that length to the theoretical sine wave cycle. So now we overlay the perfect theoretical cycle with the real price cycle in the underlying price series. So that's now interesting. And you can spot if we have a huge, let's call it correlation between those cycles, we can confirm that this cycle is on. And even more, you see shifts in amplitude. So for example, here, we have an amplitude shift of that cycle. So the cycle is not as powerful in this time as before, because the amplitude, the real amplitude is here, while the theoretical amplitude level is here. You see this also in price. So this cycle was not as impactful in that period here. Same here. And you also see, you can see slight shifts in the real turn. So this is the theoretical perfect turn, and this is more the real turn here. So you see also the phase offset. So you can spot the phase offset, you can spot the amplitude offset, and if you have some kind of perfect match here, you can then be more or less confident that this is the next expected upswing here if you see that nice behavior of that cycle. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. If you are new to cycle analysis, this method was initially published by Brian Millard. He called it cycle highlighter technique. It's just a little bit advanced here, but it goes back to the idea of Brian Millard, and Brian Millard extended the work of Hurst. And this is now the extended work from Hurst, put forward by Brian Millard, now even a little bit extended here as the cycle highlighter. Okay, but that's the weekly series. Let's now switch to shorter time frame. Let's now switch to the daily. And keep in mind, or just remember, we have a cycle length of 230, 240 weeks, long-term weekly perspective.
Okay, guys. So hopefully you get the idea. We are in a long-term cycle top, okay, for gold. And so for a weekly chart anyway. So so I think from probably May-ish, maybe earlier than that, that will be the peak of gold. We'll see. You should notice it right away when gold spikes up to 3,000 and above, and you see silver try to get to like 40. That's probably the end. Watch for that. Watch for the end of that. And let's see if it goes into May or something. And when we get there, get out. And we'll talk about how to short gold and silver and all that later. Yeah. So And the next time to get back in would be around 2027. All right. Maybe late 2026. That's probably when like everything goes like crazy. Probably the second half of 2026 into the first half of 2027. All right. But let me play a little bit more. He's going to go to the daily chart right now.
Okay, now I have switched to the daily price chart of gold. Same starting point as always. You see the spectrum here at the bottom. Here it's not as easy, yeah, as it was on the weekly chart. So here I would discount this long-term cycle here, long-term daily cycle, to be honest, because it's just a huge plateauish peak with from a strength perspective, just a lower value from the strength somewhere in the middle. And the shape is not as perfect. So it's not really to the left going down sharp. So the next important cycle showing up here has a length of 110 days. In this case, we're talking about days. Let's start with this one. And we see it has also a huge, nice strength here in that relation. And let's start with that cycle here now overlaid. So let's zoom in a little bit. And let's do the same principle here again. So let's activate the cycle highlighter. First here, you see it here at the bottom now for that cycle. I can even zoom out a little bit here so that we see the past behavior, and let me explain the same principle as before. Here we have a nice correlation between the light blue and the theoretical red just over the past 1, 2, 3 iterations, even 3.5 iterations. It was perfect. Here you see, by the way, this is where you have the phase shift from the real top and the theoretical top, or you could also say here the cycle was completely off. Yeah, in that period here, we have a huge phase shift, we have a huge amplitude shift. But from this peak here, the swing is again almost perfect here. And you can, it's like similar if you connect the tops and bottoms here on the price chart. It's just easier to read here. So the same procedure as always, I try to explain that way, is connect here the tops with the bottoms, and then you plot that kind of zigzag as overlay to the price series. And here you will see you will not find a real top and a real bottom here, so that's why. But you see it very easily on the cycle highlighter that here that cycle was off, so this was a failure. So let's not plot it here, and we even won't find a correlation here. But then from here again, so here the top, we see from here to here and here, it's more lining again. So we have, let's call this one failure. So we have one failure, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 working repetitions. So that's, and you can see that more easily on the cycle highlighter than drawing these kind of zigzag lines. So therefore, make yourself comfortable with how to use the cycle highlighter. This will easily help you to identify how many of those swings are really identified in the isolated price action of this single cycle. Therefore, it's important to understand that technique. But let's get back to the overlaying price chart. And this gives you kind of confirmation. That's why I tell you, this gives you confirmation to use this cycle also in forecasting. I mean, that's the reason, or the main reason we are all here together. So if you have that confidence, or you see 6 out of 7 repetitions in the past have an almost perfect fit, with real price swings related to that single cycle, you could use that. And that's why the cycle highlighter gives this as additional feature. I will try to bring this in a single mathematical feature later for sure, but at least you need to understand how to get your comfort. So we need to have a comfort level to use the cycle or not. But said that, this now brings us close to an top of end of February, a theoretical top, yeah, let's say it that way. So this cycle is now due, and we also see the last swings, as we have seen, are quite perfect. So we are now approaching the bottoming window from a timing perspective here. No? So I would count this is the window of opportunity from mid to end February to early March. So where we could expect then the daily cycle to top out. I would not use the shorter terms as explained. I will not use the longer term cycle. Franz, you have a valid question. So bringing up the...
All right. So I think you got the idea. Sometime around late February into early March, I'm watching that gold to pump. There should be a last exhaustive pump because that's how commodities go. Before they drop, they got to go crazy up. So, yeah, we're watching that. Let me look back at a Bitcoin right now. Looks like Bitcoin's trying again to recover from dropping to 95. And that's the thing with Bitcoin. Oh, keeps doing this again and again and again. Just doesn't stop. Now, the funny thing is, like, you see these candles here from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You see that? So let me do this. Let me just show you the Coinbase. So let's clean up the chart a bit. So I'll use this one. It's a simplified chart here. I do this rectangle where the fighting is the peak, and then you have these two dashed lines, which was set by the doji candle, I guess you could say, around December 5th. So this is the daily chart here. So you have these two dashed lines set by this candle, which was a high volume day, December 5th. And then you have two more high volume days around here, January 20th, which tried to get to 107, 108, and then failed. And then you had another high volume candle day, February 3rd, which recovered from dropping down to 91,000, got back up, but it couldn't make it all the way back up to 108. And then subsequently, we've been stuck right here. So Thursday, February 6th, 7th, 8th, 9. You see these candles? Basically no bodies. No bodies right here. Very little. They go up, they go back down. They go up, they go back down. They do nothing. They do nothing. So we've been stuck at this lower range of this rectangle. So we tried on Monday to do something, failed today, go back down, and I'm going to see what's going to happen tomorrow. If tomorrow we just fall through, we just break down completely, then goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. We probably will go back to 67 or something like that if it's crazy enough to do that in 1 day or 2 days or 3 days into Friday. It could do that. So I want to see what CPI will do. This is 8:30, okay, Eastern. So watch what it does then. If everything goes well and this thing wants to go back up, then fine. I'll go long on MSTR. If it doesn't, I'll go short MSTR. Or maybe it'll just do both. It will go up and then fail later on next week. Maybe that's what's going to happen. So anything could happen. Just prepare for it. Set everything to go. And as far as gold, yeah, watch for a big push up. So right now, GDX Gold Miners will have earnings on GOLD tomorrow morning. So maybe that will just collapse and stop its approach here, and that'll be it. So let's see, GOLD. No, not this one. GOLD, Barrick Gold, tomorrow reports earnings in the morning. Yeah, let's see how that goes. All right. Now, time to discuss some more Musk stuff, and then we'll end this stream. So it's almost 2 hours. Very good. So a couple of videos on Musk and his bid for OpenAI.
Sam, of course, the headlines right now, Elon Musk making a bid for OpenAI. Your response, you're turning him down for $97 billion.
I mean, look, OpenAI is not for sale. The OpenAI mission is not for sale. Elon tries all sorts of things for a long time. This is this week's episode.
You take it seriously at all? What do you think he's trying to drive at with this?
I think he's probably just trying to slow us down. He obviously is a competitor. He's working hard and he's raised a lot of money for XAI, and they're trying to compete with us from a technological perspective, from getting the product into the market. And I wish he would just compete by building a better product, but I think there's been a lot of tactics, many lawsuits, all sorts of other crazy stuff, now this. And we'll try to just put our head down and keep working. Does
it make it more difficult to move from that non-profit model to that for-profit model for OpenAI?
We're not moving to a for-profit model. We're not sure what we're going to do at all, but no matter what, the nonprofit will continue to be extremely important. It will drive the mission. It will continue to exist. The board is looking at lots of options about how to best structure for this next phase, but the nonprofit is not changing into anything or going anywhere.
Okay, what is your main mission here at the Paris AI Action Summit? You got Stargate, there's question marks about how much you're actually going to commit to that. Maybe you can give us some numbers on that, Sam. What is the messaging here from you and the team?
So I've been to an earlier version of this at Bletchley Park, and that one was more focused on safety. This one, people are still talking about safety, but really I think people are now saying, okay, this technology is here, it's having incredible impact, we've got to drive it. There is a lot of questions about how people can, maybe the most common question I've gotten is, can you do a Stargate in my country? We need infrastructure here, we want to do this, can you help? So that's been a common one. But a lot of other things about just how are we going to deploy this technology to make sure people benefit, where's it going to go, in what ways is the model going to improve. Last week we launched this thing called Deep Research. There's been a ton of questions about that, how can we use this to really drive economic growth. But yeah, maybe economic growth has been the single biggest theme here.
And have you had clarity on DeepSeek? I know you and the team have been looking into that, whether they distilled, whether they inappropriately used your inferencing data. Have you had more clarity on that?
Whether they did or didn't,
they a challenge,
they
a threat?
Built a good model. Many people will distill from many other models. Again, I feel so confident about our research roadmap and also our product roadmap that, DeepSeek will do whatever DeepSeek's going to do. Other people do whatever they're going to do. And we're just going to try to build the best technology we can and get it into people's hands. And I think that's mostly going pretty well.
Do you think Musk's approach then is from a position of insecurity about XAI?
Probably his whole life is from a position of insecurity. I feel for the guy.
You feel for him?
I do, actually.
Oh, what? Oh man, dude, Altman and Musk are like jilted lovers or something. What is going on? What is this shit? What did he just say? Oh man, okay. Go back. Hold on. Oh, I'll play that again. What?
Actually, I don't think he's like a happy person. I do feel for him.
Oh my god.
You feel for him?
I do.
What?
And get it into people's hands, and I think that's mostly going pretty well.
Do you think Musk's approach then is from a position of insecurity about XAI?
Probably his whole life is from a position of insecurity. I feel for the guy.
You feel for him?
I do, actually. I don't think he's like a happy person. I do feel for him.
Okay. Do you worry that he has this proximity to the president and he can influence the decision-making of the US presidency and policies around this agenda on AI?
Not particularly. Maybe I should, but not particularly. I mean, I try to just wake up and think about how we're going to make our technology better.
Oh man. Oh my god. All right, whatever. Amazing. Yeah. Well, that's something, all right. It looks like they have some history, huh? Okay, let me play another video. Hold on, let me get rid of this. Okay, done with that. Only one more video to go. Another Elon Musk special. He's always in the news.
CEO Sam Altman telling CNBC this morning that Elon Musk is looking to slow down a competitor with his $97 billion bid to control OpenAI. Joining us right now, talk about all of the drama surrounding this story. Jessica Lessin, founder, editor-in-chief, and CEO of The Information. Jessica, it is great to see you as the world turns. This one continues to. Exactly. We've been talking all morning about fiduciary duties. If you're Brett Taylor and you're the chairman of this not-for-profit that has this for-profit subsidiary with an intention to turn the whole thing into a for-profit eventually, what are the duties in terms of how you see this?
I mean, I think this nonprofit board has a lot of leeway, Andrew, to reject this offer. And the information reported last night that they told staff that they are going to reject this offer. And you've also got to remember, this is a board that has been mired in a lot of governance crises. It's actually the new board that came out of a governance crisis. But in the end of the day, I don't think OpenAI has to take this offer. And now it seems like they're kind of going on the warpath to fight it and to fight Musk publicly. So it's a real buckle up moment, I think.
Well, but here's the question. Is it a buckle up moment, or is this a sideshow? I mean, I think that's the fundamental question. Does this somehow bring in regulators and or politicians in the state of California or in the state of Delaware? To the extent that Sam believes that this is an effort to sort of throw sand in the gears of his plans to take the company private, how does that all work?
Look, it's absolutely a shrewd move by Musk, who's trying to stop this conversion and really just setting a price for what the nonprofit is worth in that conversion. So that's absolutely, I think objective one. Regulators are already involved. Musk has been throwing sands in the gear in a lot of ways. OpenAI's competitors have too in Washington, raising questions about their Microsoft partnership and so many other things. So I think there will be a lot of different dramas to unfold. Of course, the big question is whether the conversion will be able to go through. And that's in the courts. OpenAI has some positive momentum there. But that, time will tell. I think there's a lot more Musk and others can do as this company grows. A lot of people are getting, concerned about its power, and it has a lot of rivals who want to make things tough for it.
You said there's a lot of things that Musk could do, like what?
I was thinking more actually in the public perception as well. Well, I mean, so there's X and all the things he can do through that. Of course, he is very close with our president in this country. And OpenAI has been very concerned about Musk's influence over Trump. Obviously, OpenAI announced with Trump in a very prominent way a huge infrastructure project named Stargate. So, they're getting their pathways in Washington as well. But I think that looms as a big concern. What can their biggest rival, who has the president's ear, do to make their life more difficult?
In terms of the way the rest of the industry perceives OpenAI, and so many of them are in Paris this morning, where J.D. Vance, the vice president, was speaking as part of this this AI summit. I shouldn't say an OpenAI summit, but it probably turned into at least that's topic number one. Is the sense, you think, by everybody else in the Valley that they are with Elon Musk in this, or they're against Elon Musk in this?
I think it's divided, but look, Meta sided with Musk when it came to trying to block the conversion in court. They wrote a letter. I think, OpenAI has a lot of love from developers in the Valley. I mean, its products are excellent and it's been leading in so many ways. But AI is a powerful technology that is currently very concentrated. And so I think there's unease about it. There's also unease, Andrew, I think is important with OpenAI's investors. This has become, raising money or trying to raise money at a $300 billion valuation company with no clear exit plan, especially if this conversion is slowed or complicated. And so that's something I'm really looking at. Obviously, I think this offer, has a lot of problems with it, but I do bet that there's some investors saying, we take the money at this point because the world's gotten more complicated. We've got new competitors, DeepSeek and so on. So there's unease in a lot of corners, I think.
So that's interesting. Do you think that, you look at a Thrive, which obviously led this last round at $157 billion. Again, though, all the valuations that we're talking about, and again, we're talking about a not-for-profit and a profit, so it's just different, maybe different apples and oranges, but I don't think so, ultimately. If you're Thrive at $157 billion, now they got in early, so they'd still make an enormous amount of money. Do you think that there's folks in the investment community saying, you know what, take the money and run? This is like Twitter?
I don't think Thrive. I think Thrive's all in, and Josh is going to ride this thing to the moon or not. But I think, OpenAI has so many early investors, and, there's always a lot of, nervousness about how they were going to get their money out. I remember asking investors years ago before the conversion was on the table, and they said secondaries. We'll get it out through secondaries. So it's always been an open question. And I think if you look at these prices, maybe not 97, but maybe, and certainly 300, investors are starting to wonder.
You look at this board, though, and you could argue that Sam is either consolidated power, or whatever you want to say about it, but it's not a Elon Musk friendly board. I mean, Larry Summers just penned an op-ed in the New York Times yesterday going after Elon Musk over Doge.
Yeah. No, I think Sam has built a solid board and also a board that is there to support him. This board came out of his return to power at OpenAI. Again, as we reported yesterday, the board is going to officially reject this offer. And I think they're all in alignment there. But, this is a busy board. It's trying to pull off a very complicated conversion while continuing to monitor the progress of this company. So it really is quite the drama.
Jessica, it's an unfair question to ask, but if you were writing the choose your own adventure version of this book, what would be the final chapter?
Oh, goodness.
How does it end? How does this end? How does it end? Just take us to the end.
I think in the end, we've got, 4 or 5 companies that run the major foundation models. And I think OpenAI is very most likely one of them, along with Google and Microsoft and Meta and so forth. And I also think, Andrew, in the end, the differences between them become kind of smaller and smaller because the technology will progress and they'll learn from each other. In the business front, I think the end, if with Musk owning Twitter and Sam being Sam and all these tech CEOs really flexing their PR muscles at the moment, I think, we see more public brawls because the stakes are pretty high. So.
All right. 2 hours. We made it. 2 hours. I'll see you guys in the morning. Hey, Crack says, what is significance about PowerPoint? Wait, what? PowerPoint? What are you saying, Duale? What? Oh man, it would just be faster if you just jump on the panel then, Duale. What are you talking about? PowerPoint? Is PowerPoint AI? I don't think so. I don't know. Does Microsoft did they put some AI features on the PowerPoint or something? Yeah, I don't think so. Did they? I mean, I'm out of the loop, man. PowerPoint, Open AI, ChatGPT. Did they do ChatGPT on PowerPoint now? They got Slides GBT. What's this website? There's something called Slides GBT. Oh, let me see. Let me see if I can make something. There's some website called Slides GBT. Hold on. Let me see what this. Let me see what this does. Hey, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Oh shit. Wait, what? Oh, let me go. Let me go to this website. Let me put it on screen for you. Let me see if I can make some slides automatically. How do I do this? Hold on. Wait, what? Man, do people need to actually do any work anymore, man? Like, seriously. Maybe that Substack I was like playing, I was reading from was correct, that nobody's going to make any money anymore. Everything's going to be AI. All right. I want a slide deck about the future of AI. Okay. Okay, what should I talk about? Let's see. Let's see. What the? Okay, whatever. Let's just do this. I don't even know what this does. Just do it. Just do what you just prompted. What's the future of AI? Come on. Are you kidding me? No way. What? It just made me a bunch of slides like this? Okay, create the slides then. What does it do? All right, go. Come on. Give me my presentation. Are you kidding me? Don't tell me it can do all this by already. Oh my god. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Give me my slides. All right, I got my slides here. I got my agenda, 12 points already here. You see this? Okay, introduction to AI and its evolution, key trends in shaping the future of AI. All right, what's the next slide? Does it do graphics too? You gotta be kidding me, right? No. Oh, wow. All right. Got some kind of graphics. Oh, too? No way. What? Yeah, boy. Do you ever make a psychiatrist AI on the future? Wait, what? What's this? Oh, what are you talking about, Dwale? I don't know about that. You think like you think Universal Jones is gonna get his ass handed to him because now I could just make this stuff? Yeah, all right. Come on, give me more AI. Come on, let's see. Okay. The future workforce, AI and human collaboration, synergizing human intelligence with AI capabilities. Oh my lord. Okay, I'll just do this. Let's download this. Here's the link to my slides, apparently. Can I download this? What? I got pay? Boo! I don't want to pay shit, man. Come on. No way. Well, at least I got the link, right? Let me see what the link is. Oh, come on, this is BS. Slide GBT. What the heck, man? No way. All right, can I make something else? Can I make something else? No. Okay, let's do something else. Let's do something else. Let's talk about John Galt. Summarize John Galt in Fountain. Was it the Fountainhead or Atlas Shrugged? Atlas Shrugged. Okay, let's do that. Let's see what it does. Oh, all right. Overview of Atlas Shrugged, significance of John Galt, themes of individualism and capitalism. All right, okay. Let's see. Don't read this if you haven't read the book, because let's go. Let's create some slides. Spoiler alert! If you didn't read Ayn Rand. And you did graphics design? Hey, you know Tropes? I think Process did graphics design too. Yeah, and Process keeps complaining that graphics design is the worst major to get into and whatever. But he's an IT guy now, so he didn't use his degree, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, graphics design. Yeah, I don't know, bro. Personally, college is a tough thing for to people, unless you really can maximize it, and I think a lot of people can't. Yeah, now especially nowadays, I think with the way things are. And when John was showing all that, like that black TikTok university, yeah, motion graphics, yeah, that's tough. Yeah, and I actually have some old books on on designing, programming, like graphics engines, right? So this was a primitive day. So this was a huge textbook talking about how to do 3D, 2D, motion physics engines and things like that. Yeah, so graphics design itself was just like, oh, it's just like, come on, that's easy stuff. You're doing static, non-motion controlled things, and yeah, web design, yeah, things like that. Yeah, I know. Fuck. So even back then, you had things that were programmers could abstractly create by themselves. All right, let's see. We're done here. Summarizing John Galt in Atlas Shrugged. All right. Here, you guys can read the slides here, apparently. Damn, come on. Man, is this thing using my own computer to generate this? Like, why is everything slowing down? Holy crap, bro. Okay, introduction to John Galt, character analysis of John Galt's philosophy, the Galt speech. Oh, great. Let's read this. Introduction to John Galt, exploring the foundations of Atlas Shrugged. Overview of Atlas Shrugged. Ayn Rand's epic novel blends philosophy with a narrative exploring a dystopian America where individual excellence is suppressed. It serves as a critique of collectivism and a celebration of the entrepreneurial. You have to understand, like, Ayn Rand, she grew up in Russia, okay? So you can go get the slides there, and communist Russia. So she's really anti-communist. So when she came over to America, she just has this backdrop where everything she looks at is just from this paradigm of like capitalism versus communism, and so she's kind of traumatized. So this is sort of like everything she wrote, all her philosophies are just based on that trauma, and you get where it's coming from. And I'm not saying like it's right or wrong or all that, but you have to keep that in mind. Like, she's quite biased, and the books like she wrote, Fountainhead, Atlas Shrugged, as fiction, if you just critique it as fiction novels, they're pretty terrible. Like, the characters are just basically serve a purpose for her to espouse her philosophy. Okay, so if you're really into, oh, I'm pro-capitalist, I'm this and that, yeah, sure, you'll like this. But like, from a fiction standpoint, as a literary critique, I'm just like, bro, this is terrible. Like, all these characters are so paper thin. They're just like, they just serve a purpose to keep pushing her narratives, right? Significance of John Galt. John Galt epitomizes Rand's philosophical ideals, representing the quintessential individual who rejects a society that demands conformity at the expense of personal freedom. So, to me, I like that. I like rebels. That's just me. That's just me. And I do not like conformity. I think society stifles innovation. So for someone like me, I would just gravitate right to someone like Ayn Rand's like stuff. But obviously, I think you should look at it objectively. Okay. Ironically, her philosophy is called objectivism, but she's like really so anti-communist. Everything is like, oh shit, everything through a lens of this. Themes of individualism and capitalism. The novel primarily illustrates the importance of self-interest and the role of capitalism as a pathway to human flourishing, championing the idea that individuals should pursue their own happiness as a moral imperative. So that kind of goes into maybe nihilism or something like that. I guess you could critique it that way. Okay. So, character analysis of John Galt. Let's unpack the character here of John Galt. And John Galt is like this character that the main character has to go find. All right. So, who is John Galt? Well, this stuff. Background and upbringing. Galt's early life, shaped by rigorous intellectualism and exposure to philosophical ideals, propels him toward becoming a philosophical leader, advocating for individual rights and free market principles. just like our John Galt. Agentic AI. Yeah, I heard about that tropes. Agentic AI, but I haven't looked that up. Yeah. Key traits and characteristics. John Galt is defined by his unwavering integrity, rational self-confidence, and a profound commitment to his values, illustrating a character forged in the crucible of adversity. Role in the narrative. Galt is not merely a character, but a catalyst for change whose actions set into motion the events of the narrative while challenging the moral and philosophical foundations of the society around him. All right. Let's look at the philosophy here. Understanding the core principles of objectivism. Objectivism explained. Rand's philosophy of objectivism underscores the pursuit of one's own happiness as the highest moral purpose, advocating reason as the means for acquiring knowledge and achieving personal success. Well, there you go. There you go. John loves to smoke his weed and drink his beer every day. And then now he got his Be Brave show, right? So he is objectivism personified. There you go. It's what enterprises are working on now. Yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah, agentic. Let me see. Hold on. All right. Let me see. Okay, agentic AI is a type of artificial intelligence that can perform tasks independently, adapt to changing conditions, and solve complex problems. Agentic AI systems are designed to work like human employees using natural language to understand context and instructions. Okay, so let's see who's the leader in this area. Who is the leader? Blah, blah, blah. So generative AI versus agentic AI. We got this nice article here. All right, let me read this one. Here, let me go read this. Okay. Oh my God. What is this? Crap. Get away. All this stuff. Okay. Generative AI versus agentic AI. Artificial intelligence has become the buzzword of our time. It's a term that often conjures images of self-learning machines, but in reality, AI is a broad umbrella with many different subfields. Two of the most talked about developments today are generative AI and agentic AI. The crucial thing to grasp is that they function in distinctly different ways. Understanding these differences is essential if we want to grasp how AI is reshaping our world and how it will continue to do so. Okay, zoom in. Oh my God, it doesn't zoom in. All right, generative AI, the creative powerhouse. Generative AI is all about creation. Think of it as the imaginative side of artificial intelligence. These systems are designed to produce content, text, images, music, code, and even video. All right, let's skip down to agentic AI. While generative AI focuses on creating, agentic AI is all about doing. This type of AI is designed to act autonomously to achieve specific goals. Agentic AI don't just generate outputs; they make decisions, take actions, and adapt to changing environments. Think of agentic AI as the brains behind autonomous vehicles. Robotic process automation, or smart assistants that can schedule your meeting and order your groceries. These systems are equipped with sensors, algorithms, actuators that enable them to perceive their environment, process information, and execute actions. What sets agentic AI apart is its ability to act with purpose. It's not just reacting to input, but considering objectives and making choices to achieve them. For instance, autonomous drone delivering packages must navigate obstacles, like Palantir, right? Optimize its route and adapt to unforeseen circumstances, all without human intervention. Okay. I wonder how this goes with the whole general intelligence. Let's see. The lines between generative and agentic AI will blur further as these two types of AIs evolve and improve. Advances in technology could lead to systems that seamlessly integrate Creation and action combine the best of both worlds. Imagine an AI that not only generates innovative ideas but also implements them autonomously, a game changer for industries ranging from healthcare, and manufacturing. Well, that's why you got the AI doctors, right? There you go. Beautiful, beautiful. Anyway, let's go back to our generated AI slide of John Galt. Let's see. Okay, John Galt's philosophy. The morality of capitalism. In Galt's philosophy, capitalism is not merely a system of economics, but a moral framework that respects the rights of individuals to engage in voluntary trade, resulting in mutual benefit and progress. So, we have generative AI giving me these slides to summarize John Galt and Atlas Shrugged. Then I'll use agentic AI to generate me the actual John Galt. And then so I can generate my own channel with a fake John Galt, right? To compete with the real John Galt. And that's where agentic AI will come in. So is there agentic GBT? And then I could just make my own John Galt, right? All right. So the John Galt speech, the heart of John Galt's message, context of the speech. Galt delivers his iconic speech as a culmination of his struggle against societal oppression, presenting a philosophical manifesto that articulates the core tenets of objectivism. Okay, here are the key ideas presented. His speech addresses the foundations of society, the vital role of the individual, and the dangers of collectivism, creating a clarion call for the forgotten achievers of the world to reclaim their power. So the impact on the story and characters. The speech serves as a turning point for both the narrative and its characters, awakening them to the principles of autonomy and self-worth, catalyzing the philosophical revolution that drives the plot forward. That's great. Whatever. Oh man, let's see what else. Oh, Dagny Taggart, Hank Reardon. All right, spoilers. Oh, that's great. This is great, man. AI is great, amazing. What else could I get to do? I mean, this is so generic though. This is boilerplate stuff. So let's see the conclusions, the legacy of John Galt, reflections on a timeless character, summary of key points. John Galt emphasizes the interplay between individualism, capitalism, and personal freedom, illuminating the eternal conflict between the individual and the collective, the enduring impact of Galt's character as an icon of personal responsibility and creativity. Galt's influence continues to resonate, inspiring various movements advocating for individual rights. The final thoughts on individualism and freedom in a world fraught with challenges to autonomy. Galt's legacy serves as a reminder of the importance of defending personal freedom and the value of individual contributions to society. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, AI. Very much. Okay, so we had some fun there. I'll see you guys around. I don't know what's coming up next. Let's see, who is anybody coming up next? I mean, I could just make some AI Kendrick Lamar, right? Or Drake. I could just make some AI Kendrick Lamar, Drake, or I could just make some AI Sam Altman versus Elon Musk. And then we could figure out who is the true champion of individualism versus collectivism. How about that? But anyway, so right now SMCI is up 8% after hours, up 15% if you're using SMCX. So tomorrow is going to be very interesting. I'm going to be watching that. I'm going to watch MSTR, going to watch Bitcoin, going to watch all these nice stocks that I was talking about, and we'll see what we can get to trade tomorrow. All right, so I'll try to come in at 5:30 when the data gets released, my time. 5:30 my time. That's 8:30 Eastern. Okay, so we'll see how the CPI numbers come out, and then we'll get to there. All right, so I'll see ya. And remember to donate to Portia. So let me put the banner back up. Okay, we got the banner here. So $, PORS. I think it's PORS. It's a. Let me try to get. Oh yeah, we got the StreamYards too. So don't forget StreamYards. You can use StreamYards to donate. Okay. So that's another way. If you don't got your, and I know some of you Europeans don't have Cash App, come here and donate. And we also have PayPal. All right, we have PayPal. So $PORSHAJAYE, got that, and PayPal to the email for Portia, PORSHA at jghb.info. And you can email me at crack, CRACK, at jghb.info. And we have our Streamlabs, streamlabs.com/TheUrbanLandord, right there on your screen. So yeah, good looking out. And yeah, so please, if you got any questions, you can email me and I'll see what I can do. And later half of this month, I gotta do some more lessons. That's one thing. And I'll have to do my what is it? God damn it, what is it? Substack. Yeah, I got my Substack I set up last month. Okay, I gotta do that and then do some trades on that one so it's nice and organized. Yeah, we have to get some organization around here. And once we do that, we're ready to go. All right. But March and April, that's where the big dips are. So I'm going to try to see if there's anything else I forgot. I don't think so. But yeah, that's it. And okay, 2:20 my time right now. All right, almost 3 o'clock. I don't think anybody else is coming up right now. But thanks for viewing. You know, the last stream I did, I had like 200 viewers or something. Actually, so because I've streamed to this channel and the archive channel, I think it was because I put A-Lab on the hashtag, and looks like a lot of people are gambling on A-Lab. Amazing. So Astera Labs. Yeah, it's quite amazing. Looks like there's tons of people gambling on that single stock. So if nobody's coming up later on here, you can go check out Lolo's stream, right? On Riding High with Lo. So yeah, riding. I think she was supposed to have some stream for lunch, but yeah, you can go over to her stream. So Universal Jones will be there. Riding High with Lo. Yeah, man, it got delayed again. Like, what's going on? Come on. Wow, so she delayed it. Oh man, yeah, she delayed it, and then now she replaced it with like the trivia. All right, you can go to her trivia thing if nobody's coming up on here. Go to the trivia. Yeah, I'll just promote it here. Go to the trivia one. All right, so people can't keep their schedules apparently. All right, so yeah, go here. You can go check out the trivia, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of simps coming on, and so you can check it out. Check out all the excitement. Oh yes, Valentine's Day. Oh yeah, it's going to be Valentine's Day soon. I forgot. Yeah. Let me see. It's on a Friday too. Yeah. All right. So let's see. Okay. I'll see you guys later. Okay, I gotta go eat now. Bye. And I'll try to come on at 8:30 Eastern, and we'll see what trades we got to make tomorrow.
Feel like I should go. Feel like I should go. Feel like I should go. Like I should go. Like I should feel like I should. should go.